Perfect. Thank you, Kate, for the lovely reminder. So good morning, good evening, and good afternoon. My name is Lisa Salud, and I am the general partner of R3i Ventures, our house of deep tech and medtech, and R3i Capital, our new venture capital firm that has launched in the US. I'm really excited to invite you here today to our Unicorn Cup pitch. And as you know, this is part of a global competition. We are joined here today by our partners of Unicorn Cup, Alexander and Kate. Welcome to the program. Great to have you with us. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with Unicorn Cup is one of the world's largest pitch competitions. We've had the great privilege at R3i to be engaged in Unicorn Cup for the last couple of years, and I've always been deeply impressed by the quality of our founders across the deep tech ecosystem and the quality of our co-investment partners. We're joined here today by some of the leading investors internationally. And this cohort stems from abroad. We have founders joining us today from Uruguay, from Singapore, from Australia. And the reason why it is a global competition is because these founders have all found their way to Luxembourg to land into the European Union and tap into the 80 billion euros available in non-dilutive funding. It's a very exciting time to be in Europe. As you know, the European Union are releasing huge amounts of non-dilutive funding in order to drive forward our deep tech ecosystem. Luxembourg is the perfect test bed for that. And there's no better man to describe the value of Luxembourg than Ian Creswell, our esteemed venture partner and chief entrepreneur in residence at R3i. Ian, you've spent more than 2 decades in Lux innovation and the Luxembourg ecosystem. I'm going to hand it over to you to tell us the 10 reasons why we should all be landing in Luxembourg.
Yeah, thanks, Lisa. It's a pleasure and privilege to be with you guys. And good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all of you. I'm just going to share my screen. I want to just, whoop, not that one. Hold on. Bear with me. There we go. Okay. So it'll just be a little bit easier for me to talk to you about Luxembourg. As Lisa said, we've invested as R3i in Luxembourg ourselves. We believe it's the right place for us to be at this point in time. And we strongly believe that it's the right place for founders, for companies that are looking at the European market to consider and to come and just see what is available. Lisa's given you some of the sort of the top line. I'll try and just sort of put it into a little bit of context. Obviously, you're all aware that that the European market is still an important market. It's still the third global market. It's made up of these 27 countries, you can see. And the great thing is that 19 of those 27 share the same currency even. So we don't have to worry about currency exchanges and changes throughout those 19 countries. And it is a market of greater, more than 450 million consumers, even given that the UK decided to no longer be a part of the party and has taken themselves out of it. But it's still a very important market, and it's built on this concept, this precept of free mobility of capital, goods, service, and labor, which is really important if you're trying to do business in Europe. Just to put Luxembourg into that context, you all know where we're situated, but the point is that within a very short traveling distance from Luxembourg, less than 2 hours, you've got access immediately then to more than 60% of all European GDP. So it's on your doorstep. Luxembourg is great as the point of entry to do your proof of concepts, etc. But obviously you've then got totally open borders to go into those markets, and you can access them very, very easily from based in Luxembourg. So these are just a few things. As a founder, as a company, what you're looking for in a location, in a market, is stability within that market. And in Luxembourg, you have these 3 elements. You've got economic, political, and social stability. In terms of the economic stability, we consistently perform against all metrics, all European metrics, all world metrics. We're very, very highly rated. We're stable in terms of the fact that we're AAA rated. We haven't lost that during the COVID pandemic. We've maintained that, and it's been reaffirmed very, very recently by several of the other main rating agencies. Inflation has taken a knock in recent years due mainly to fuel, to the increased cost of fuel, and that's had an impact on inflation, but it is still relatively low compared to other EU countries, and it's more or less under control. Also, in terms of political stability, we have a situation in Luxembourg where we're governed by a government in coalition. This means that there's no political swings. You don't have a left-wing party coming into power, then later, 4 years, 8 years later, being replaced by a right wing. It's all around the center. So you have a coalition government, and you see just changes in the makeup of that government. But this gives the government the ability to set not just short-term 4-year, 8-year plans, but really long-term plans for economic development, economic stimulation. And we regularly see programs that are 20 plus years of duration. And this gives companies, also businesses, that visibility, that long-term visibility to enable them to really make themselves long-term plans. And we have good social cohesion in Luxembourg. It's very, very unusual to have any sort of unrest. There have been some demonstrations recently about COVID. That's polarizing all society. But in general context, we are a very stable community also. Now, we're not a big community. As you can see, we're less than 650,000 people. But the interesting point is that it's a very, very international community. So for a small population, there's more than 170 different nationalities that are registered as living and working in Luxembourg. It's totally out of proportion with the size of the country, but it does mean it's an extremely international workforce. So it's a workforce that has very, very good language skills. So if you as a company, you're doing business, let's say in the Nordics and in Iberia, you can find people that not only have the skill sets you require, but they have the linguistic abilities to be able to communicate with your customers in their in their first languages. So it really is quite unusual. We also have a situation where I came to Luxembourg in 1985, and in that time the population has doubled. It's more than doubled. So what we're seeing is that Luxembourg is very good also at attracting labor to come to Luxembourg. You know, this doubling of the population in 30 odd years isn't because all families are very, very large in Luxembourg. It is a Catholic country after all, but this is because we're attracting highly qualified people to come to Luxembourg and to develop their careers, at least parts of their careers, in Luxembourg. So we're very good at attracting talent to the country. Now, what's going to be driving our economy in the future? Obviously, as with all developed economy, it's the digital economy in all its various aspects that will be the driver. The government has taken note of this very early on. It's invested very heavily, and I'll explain that to you in just a moment. But you can see here the areas that we're really putting our focus. Finance in all its guises, fintech, insurance, etc., has always been very important to the economy. It will continue, it will change, it will adapt, but it will remain important. We're seeing other sectors that will be developing. Health tech in particular, digital health tech is developing very strongly. It's very well supported. But also the more traditional logistics and manufacturing. We do have a manufacturing and a strong manufacturing base in Luxembourg, but that is adapting and it's changing very, very quickly, very rapidly. And we're seeing new sectors developing. I put in there commercial space exploitation. This is something that's being driven by Luxembourg. Luxembourg globally is taking a very, very key role in developing this sector. So this is going into space, and it's either extracting minerals to support life on other planets. the moon, Mars, whichever they happen to be, or to find the raw materials necessary to go further for deep space exploration. And the European Commission with the Luxembourg government has invested very heavily in an innovation center based on this. So the European Space Resources Innovation Center that is in Luxembourg as well. So we're supporting all existing sectors, and we're looking to develop new sectors also. So this is a part of the development of the digital support that we're seeing in Luxembourg. We're seeing absolutely massive investment in infrastructure. That's been going on for many, many years now, and it's continuing. But we're also investing in the skills that are needed to be able to take advantage of that investment in the infrastructure. We're also seeing very significant investment in research, development, and innovation, whether it be in the private sector or in the public sector. And then finally, the government sees the need to attract digital startups and scale-ups to Luxembourg, and again is looking very, very closely and very intently at how to do that in an intelligent manner. One of the investments is this. It looks pretty, but it's a supercomputer. But the interesting thing is that this supercomputer, the whole premise for putting the cash into this is that 2/3 of the capacity of the machine will be reserved for businesses. So it will be reserved for large corporations down to and including startups. Startups will be given privileged access to the equipment. We see this as an investment very much to stimulate the new economy. And that's one of the main arguments behind actually investing in this supercomputer. So this is the latest version. It's only just gone online less than 6 months ago. And we're already seeing the first companies starting to take advantage of running programs on this supercomputer. And as I said, I mentioned that we're investing heavily in research, development, and innovation. We now have some truly world-class R&D infrastructures that are open and accessible by companies. We have very good access to, as Lisa mentioned, these non-diluted grants. They're across all sectors. And you don't have to wait for calls for projects in your particular domain. You can submit at any time on any subject, and it'll be evaluated on its merits. There's also a very, very interesting and attractive IP regime for IP that's developed in Luxembourg. And there's also very strong support that if you want to think a little bit bigger than just running projects in Luxembourg, and you're looking at European scale projects with partners elsewhere, there's very strong support to give you the access to those partners and to help you to go for European funding also in supplement to anything that you can look to achieve in Luxembourg. So just in terms of the 10 good reasons, these are the official government definition of why you as founders should strongly consider Luxembourg. I've tried to give you a little bit of meat to understand what's behind these statements. But obviously, if you would like any more information, please don't hesitate to contact me. I'd be more than happy to either give you whatever information I have or to point you to the people that can give you any more specialized knowledge. But please don't hesitate to contact me. So I didn't quite see exactly how many minutes it took, Lisa, but I think it's closer to 10 rather than the 5. But
Thank you very much, Ian. Really appreciate your inputs. And everybody, welcome to Luxembourg. I've had the great privilege of moving here with my family, myself, since July. I've experienced a flood, a pandemic, and a recent gale force wind. Everyone is still happy and smiling here in Luxembourg, and businesses, as usual, powering forward. This is a home of responsible investment, and R3i Capital is excited to be based here as part of our mission to funding the next generation of pioneers. And with that, I'm going to hand over to our illustrious judges to introduce themselves. We have the great privilege to co-invest around the world with the people that you see here today. And I'll hand over to each one of you to introduce yourself, your fund and your mission and what you're here today to discover. Perhaps Scarlett, welcome from Hong Kong. Really wonderful to have you with us from Prudential. Over to you.
Thank you, Lisa. Scarlett Chen here from Prudential Corporation Asia. I'm a managing director here in Hong Kong, and I sit on top of strategic investments for Prudential and also partnerships as well. So that's it. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And one of the wonderful parts of working with the insurance industry is, of course, to fund our medtech and healthcare startups and also our insurtechs, many of which are here today. Milena, over to you at Era VC.
Hello, everybody. Ian, I found that really interesting about Luxembourg. Even though I'm European, I still found a lot of new information in that. Thank you. So I sit in Singapore. Era VC is a global fund. We invested early stage in climate tech solutions and with a strong bias for deep tech innovation. Our portfolio consists, maybe a third is alternative proteins, a third is decarbonizing industry, anything from synthetic biology to carbon negative concrete. And a third is a mixed bag of various things that really solve big climate problems. So very aligned with what Lisa is talking about, and do believe that the unicorns of tomorrow will be climate related and tackling some of those big issues.
Fantastic. And Milena, what stage do you like to invest in and what is your ticket size?
Our sweet spot is seed pre-series A. So ticket sizes between $500,000 to $2 million.
Fantastic. Wonderful. Well, everybody, now you know Era VC. Calling to you live today, Milena Nikolova from Singapore. Great to have you with us. Over to you, Isaac. Isaac is based in London with Vickers Ventures.
Hi, everyone. We are an early stage venture capital firm. We've been around for a while. We've raised 6 funds. Our latest fund is $260 million in size. Our total AUM is a little over $500 million. Our focus is deep tech as well. It's tech that requires significant investment into R&D and comes with moats and defensibility. Round sizes tend to be a bit larger. So what we look for is a breakthrough technology that's solving large, well-known world problems. We tend to have a lot of biotech, but we're not biotech exclusive. So technology that comes with large and ready markets, think cancer or plastics alternative that's functionally equivalent, yet biodegrades when dumped into the sea, even energy. So focus can also be described as through the lens of risk. We like things that have a ready-made market, because if you're solving large world problems, that's going to come with it. So we're comfortable taking higher technical risk. Will it work or scale? And we have a more technical team because we see VC as a mix of tech and finance. We tend to lead rounds. We serve as a technical lead quite often. What else? Our round where we land in terms of stages is Series A. And our check sizes are typically between 5 to 10 million.
Fantastic. Thanks, Isaac. Really great to have you with us. And I've got the great privilege of sharing an alumni at Triumph EMBA program with Isaac. So congratulations on your upcoming graduation. Super exciting. I'm going to hand over now to Hayata Okubo, who joins us from Japan. Hayata, welcome.
Okay, thank you. So my name is Hayata from Plug and Play Japan. So Plug and Play Japan is a Silicon Valley based venture capital, and I belong to the Japan office of Plug and Play. And my focus is deep tech, and especially like new materials like plastic alternative solutions or material informatics and so on. So yeah, very excited to hear about innovative startups, and we are looking for startups which can collaborate with Japanese companies in the future.
Fantastic. And Hayata, I have the great privilege to be a Plug and Play alumnus. Just let the team know, what are the other verticals that you cover and focus in Japan?
So we have right now 8 themed verticals like smart cities, health, mobility, insurtech, fintech, energy, new materials. So we are quite open to any kinds of like startups and industries.
Fantastic. So that's Hayata joining you today from Tokyo, Japan at Plug and Play. And I'd now like to hand over to Julia, who joins us from Vespucci Partners. Welcome, Julia.
Hi, everyone. Happy to be here. So I'm one of the founding partners of Vespucci Partners. We're based in Budapest, Hungary, and we invest in the Central Eastern European region into, once again, deep tech startups. And in terms of sector industries, we're looking at it quite broadly, and we're looking at different industries. We really do like biotech, but once again, we're also not biotech focused only. So we also have startups that are AI, machine learning, or IoT startups. And we're really looking for the new innovative companies in this region.
Fantastic. And Julia, what is your average check size and what stage do you like to invest in?
Yes, so our sweet spot is seed stage, and we invest from $1 to $4 million.
Super. Wonderful to have you with us. Welcome, Julia. I'm now going to hand over to Leonie, who joins us today in sunny London. Leonie, over to you.
Hi, Lisa. Thank you so much. So my name is Leonie Wirakun, and I am a partner with Kinetik Ventures. Kinetik focuses on investing in founders that are really accelerating climate action, specifically through environmental conservation. So not really looking at only a deep tech to lower carbon emissions, but also looking at the side effects that happen through climate consequences. And so I'll also focus on pre-seed to Series A. Being Luxembourgish as well as American, we do look at investments across Europe and the US. And the check size would be anywhere from 250 onward. Kinetik is a very new fund, so we're really excited to be working and looking at areas where founders are also utilizing blue ocean market strategies to implement more commercial and industry-focused tech that could be utilized on a global scale.
Fantastic. Thank you, Leonie. And I'd like to now hand over to Peter Lavnica, joining us from R3i Ventures in Singapore.
Hello, everyone. I was hoping Lisa's going to introduce the R3i team, there's no incorrect information. But hi, everyone. I'm Peter with R3i Ventures. We are focusing on deep tech, medtech, running incubator accelerator programs in Luxembourg and Singapore. I'm personally based in Singapore. Also do personally some angel investments, but and I know the size of a check, Lisa, I hope I'm not incorrect, anywhere between 100,000 to up there. Seed, pre-seed, Series A up to Series B. Hopefully we can do some SPACs in the future.
Fantastic. Thanks, Peter. And we are proud to be launching our brand new fund out of the US market to help us to get access to some of those larger opportunities as we move forward. I'd now like to hand over to our good friend, John Kojiro Moriwaka, based in Japan. John, welcome.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. My name is Crazy John, aka John Kojiro Moriwaka. Thank you so much, Lisa, for inviting me. Good to see Peter and Jan. Thanks for your great presentation. And good to see everybody here. Hope all your families, friends staying safe, healthy, and happy and crazy. So let's enjoy today. Best luck to everybody. So I'm very happy to be part of Lisa's group, R3i Ventures, as a venture partner. And I'm personally investing in medtech and deep tech startups belong to Harvard Business School alumni angels and life science angels in Silicon Valley. And I'm advisor of a few venture capitals around the world. We focus on the digital transformation, such as cyber physical system, and also digital twins, industrial IoTs. And another venture capital I'm helping is also focusing on deep tech and med tech as well. So we have a bunch of different funds for next unicorns. So best luck all of you today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, John. And I'd like to fly the flag for our team at Astia Angels. Astia Angels are a women-focused fund based out of the US, investing internationally. Astia Angels have recently raised their $100 million fund seeded by MasterCard. and they are actively looking to include women and minorities in the portfolio. So if you are looking for the early check, because there's a lot of more mature investment stage focused VCs here, do be sure to reach out to our friends at Astia Angels using us as your referral. Really happy to help seed you in. We're also a member of Transact, which is 120 female GPs around the world, all leading their own funds. And we have the great privilege to seed your deals into this network on a real-time basis. And I'm very pleased to have many of our Transact networks also on the call today. And finally, I'm going to hand over to Alexandre. Alexandre is the founder of the Startup Network and a contributor to investing in our deep tech companies. Alexandre, over to you. Can you hear me okay? Perhaps I can give an introduction. For those of you who are not familiar, Startup Network is the owner of the Unicorn Cup pitch competition internationally, and they take an active role in funding companies across the planet, not only by connecting them with fabulous venture capitalists like those that you see on this call today, but also in providing access to debt financing and angel financing. Today, all of you are now listed on the platform and have access to the accredited investors that live within the Startup Network. And the winner of today's event will go through to the Unicorn Cup finals, which will be taking place later in March. So without further ado, I'm going to kick off the presentation today. And I'd like to invite Augmentus, Daryl Lim, to the stage. The format for the competition today, ladies and gentlemen, is a 3-minute pitch from the founders, a 2-minute Q&A, and followed at the end by the culmination of the votes. Every judge, you should have an email with your own unique link in it. If you can't place your hand on it, please drop me a note in the chat and I'll serve it over to you. Daryl, the floor is yours. Take it away.
Hi, Lisa. Can you hear me?
Sure can.
Awesome. Let me share my screen. Is my screen good?
Sure is.
Awesome. Nice to meet you, everyone. My name is Daryl, co-founder of Augmentus. So Augmentus is a robotic software company that pioneers fully autonomous robotics. And prior to starting Augmentus, my team and I, Yongshin and Wunfu, we had years of robotic experience in our previous lines of work, where we develop and deploy robotic solutions for multinational companies like Rolls-Royce, Shell, and IHI. And that was when we realized and felt the personal pain points around robotics, which is the high difficulty and long downtimes that is experienced in conventional robotic automation. Teach-pendant and lead-through programming are the two most common ways in which robots are being programmed today. But there's a very big issue with these methods. Firstly, expensive experts are needed to program these systems. Different robot brands use different programming languages. 3D models required are not often available or accurate to real-life components. And there's an average downtime of 4 to 6 weeks when it comes to programming. And this results in a high cost in robotic ownership. Around 70% of the cost of robot automation lies in the programming and integration aspect. So that is why my team and I came together to build Augmentus, where we pioneer fully autonomous digital twin creation and robot motion planning to enable robot programming in minutes instead of what would normally take months through 3 simple steps. Firstly, scan, plan, and deploy. Here's a video that demonstrates to you how our system works. So firstly, the user scans the robot cell within a few seconds, and our technology allows you to take from different perspectives to generate a digital twin accurately with 0.5 millimeters in precision. Next, you select the surface that you like the robot to operate on. So for this case, it's going to be a sanding application. And as you can see, our system fully creates the robot motion planning autonomously without the need for human intervention. And then you deploy the code. So within a few minutes, you'll be able to get an automation system like this up and running. But prior to Augmentus, it would normally take at least 5 to 6 days. So we do, our robot engine, proprietary robot engine, is built on years of R&D and patents. So it has technologies around 3D scanning, auto calibration, AI and machine vision, extensive robot library, robot motion planning algorithms, synchronizations, as well as process parameters for very specific applications as well. And compared to competing solutions, we take a fraction of the time, 15 minutes compared to what would normally take a few days to a few weeks. So our business model is priced on a per year per robot cell license. with an 80% gross margin, and we have seen a 54 days sales cycle. And we have pretty significant commercial traction already beyond Singapore, in European, Japan, and in the US market as well. Pipelining 600 licenses, with 80% of the current licenses being inbound driven rather than outbound driven as well. So we're looking to raise a Series A round in Q3 2022 to scale license deployments, particularly in the US region and the Europe region, to scale to hit 1,000 licenses by 2023. So join us in making robotics simplified. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And I'm going to hand over to our judges for questions. Thank you, Daryl.
If I could ask a question, if I understood correctly, your offering is not hardware, it's only software, the programming side of it, correct?
Yes, that's absolutely correct. Yeah.
And is it easy to integrate? I don't know how it works with potential clients. Is it easy to integrate with existing systems? And you very quickly skip through competitive environment, but if you could just elaborate a little bit on incumbents, what do they do in the space? I'm assuming a lot of people are trying to tackle this problem.
That's an excellent question. So sorry I had to skip through because of the time limit. But basically for different companies, the main factor in integration is the robot brand. So if you look at the bottom left-hand corner, we do already have an extensive robot library today. We support 8 out of the top 10 robot brands today. And this is by no means a small feat, because if you look at a competitor like Wendelbots that raised around 80 million USD, they only support 2 robot brands. So we are well ahead of some of the competition in the market already. And regarding competition, in terms of a high-level overarching view, these are the 3 main ways in which robots are being done today. So firstly, it's offline simulation, teach pendant, and lead through. And actually, there are companies looking to solve this problem, but they are trying to improve on existing technologies like teach pendant and lead through programming. For us, we are coming at it from a totally different angle. We're looking at fully autonomous digital twin creation and also fully autonomous auto path generation. So what this means is that the user can create a digital twin, a 3D model for the work cell within a few seconds, and also program the robot without the need to code or do point-to-point teaching. So it's all being done by the software. There's no need for a lot of human intervention. So that is why we can reduce the programming time to less than 15 minutes compared to what would normally take days in today's market. Yeah.
Fantastic. And I'm going to throw it over to you, Peter Lavnica from R3i Ventures.
Hey, Daryl, nice to see you again. 2 questions. You have any tractions with automotive? I come from a town where we have a big automotive company, and they basically did the reset of their lines every year. So that could be a huge savings for them. And the second question is, what is your exit strategy?
So that's an excellent question, Peter. Nice to see you again. So we already have an ongoing relationship with Hyundai Motor Group. So Hyundai Motor Group and several of the other companies here like Autoline, like Robotnik, they are actually automotive providers, and Hyundai is of course an automotive manufacturer. So we're looking to actually secure 3 licenses with Hyundai for Q1 this year. And Q2, we're going to expand to even more licenses as well. So there's many potential in the automotive space that we're expanding upon this year as well. Yeah. With regards to exit strategy, we're looking more towards an acquisition. There's a lot of acquisitions being happening in this space, in the robotic space, and we are in a very good situation to be acquired, mainly because the biggest barrier for robot adoption is ease of use, and we believe we have the easiest and fastest way to program robots, even for the most complex of applications. Yeah.
One more question, sorry. So do you have any traction in potential licensing to the robot manufacturers as a part of their service? Yeah.
For robot manufacturers, we do not sell to them. What we do is we partner with them. So a good example is that we're working with several robot OEMs right now to do a bundling. So when they sell one robot, we sell one license, for instance. And just to maybe give some insight into this ecosystem is that the main stakeholder that engages the end client is seldom the robot OEM. It's more often than not, it's the system integrator. So for us, we're actually looking for partnership opportunities more with system integrators rather than robot OEMs, because that is going to be the best way to scale our license deployments. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Daryl. I'm going to wrap it up there. Great presentation from Augmentus, ladies and gentlemen, in Singapore, forging a very solid footprint across the European Union and moving towards its next fundraise. I'm going to hand it over now to Bharat, who joins us from G-Space. G-Space is a company forged out of the realms of NASA, ladies and gentlemen, that provides in-space manufacturing. Bharat, over to you.
Thank you, Lisa. Let me first share my screen. Give me a second. Let me know once you can see my screen.
Yes, just needs to be on presentation mode and you're good to go.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Good. So thank you, everyone. My name is Bharat and welcome to G-Space. So in G-Space, we design materials without gravity here on Earth to usher into the era of profitable space manufacturing. The G-Space vision is to do for space manufacturing what the drug discovery platforms have done for life sciences. So with that vision in our mind, Iona, who is the founder of this company, also coming from NASA, she has consolidated this team of various experts. And the objective of this team of highly experienced space experts is to keep the momentum up. We have astronaut Gregory, who was the ex-astronaut in the NASA. We also have SpaceX resources and a couple of other senior resources. Can you hear me? Yeah. So what we're trying to do here is that the problem today is that the advanced materials, they power almost all the industries. Their processes of manufacturing requires enormous amounts of pristine resources like water for cooling and represents significant source of environmental pollution, posing challenges for digital age for the needs such as transmission, storage, sensing, biotechnology, and energy conversions. Meanwhile, the space sector, as we know, is experiencing unprecedented growth, providing frequent, affordable, and reliable access to direct solar power, high vacuum sources for raw materials, and above all, reduced gravity. This is a hot trillion-dollar industry in which manufacturing in space is the next growing market. And this is where we see the opportunity. The in-space materials are unique. They have unique formulations, different crystalline configurations, and properties unmatched on Earth. They will enable telecommunications, quantum applications, DNA-based electronics, biotechnology, and the future in-space infrastructure. G-Space is accelerating the process and reducing the cost of manufacturing materials in space. Currently, the process is led by traditional processes which are expensive and ineffective, including the multiple space launches. So you have to keep on sending experiments up in the orbital, which is highly ineffective. This is where we come in. Our solution, Advanced Terrestrial to Orbital Manufacturing Experimental, is a patented terrestrial AI-powered software as a service platform of capabilities for the design, optimization, and qualification of products without gravitational force. This serves our customers, saves customers years and millions in making go or no go decisions in terms of space manufacturing. Atom builds on a unique ability to discover new material formulations under non-gravity here on Earth. Next, it designs materials through proprietary AI and machine learning tools. Finally, it reimagines manufacturing processes that are unique to space. The platform is modular and provides data ingestion, storage, analytics capabilities, combined with underpinned microgravity science for any or all segments of processes for in-space manufacturing. The market is growing. Right now, we have access to $1 billion and it can go to about $100 billion. So what we're looking right now is for a 0.5 million or 500,000 K pre-seed to make sure that we have a consolidated team and we have the advantage of early mover advantage. And finally, we're also looking for 2.5 million after 6 months with a lead investor, whoever is able to join the force. So I hope you will invest in us. I hope I was on time.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Bharat. I'm now going to open it up to the floor. I know when I first came across G-Space, understanding in-space manufacturing was quite a complex feat. You've helped to simplify it somewhat today, but I'm sure the judges have more questions.
Yeah.
Peter, over to you.
Yeah, so I'm going to open with my usual questions, which I forgot to ask Daryl. Any patents?
Yes, it's the patent is pending. So Atom platform that we have, the patent is approved, and now we are going for a global reach out. The 500K that I've asked for, a part of that will be used for, moving the patent to the patents to European and other infrastructures.
And the second question is the exit strategy and the time frame, perhaps.
So the exit strategy, as you know, the market is still developing. We have, so let me move to the slide. So we have access to some of the greatest players in this segment. For example, Blue Origin, which is an investment from Jeff Bezos, and also Thales and Axiom. These are the companies which are going to set up the new platform for space. So they will be having, the International Space Station in the private segment. We are hoping to get acquired by or either used by one of these bigger platforms in next 3 to 5 years.
Fantastic. And I'd like to add, ladies and gentlemen, that G-Space is one of the very few space technology companies at this level that actually has top-line customer revenues. So very exciting to see your traction, Bharat.
Yeah, we are working with some of these customers to together develop the market. This is what the feedback that we have is already great, and just that we need to graduate these guys together with us.
Fantastic. And Milena, over to you at Era VC.
I mean, I have so many questions just because it's a new space for me. And I'm reading at the moment the 3-body problem and deep forest. So I'm imagining how what you're doing can have these future applications. But tell me again, what is it exactly, the know-how that, is it about this microgravity technology being able to test things on Earth without gravity? Is that the IP?
So what is happening right now? So new material discovery. By the way, this tool can be used also for multiple other uses. What happens right now, let me go to that slide. The experimentation for microgravity, the way it happens is that there are companies who are putting up those experiments into a small module and sending up to the orbits. And then they need to bring it back to study if the material changes because of microgravity situation is feasible or not. What we're able to do is that we can help because of the data that we have and the AI-based patented technology, which includes the physics and computational chemistry within the platform, is able to predict how the material would behave if there was no gravity or microgravity or major gravity, right? For example, there was latest in lunar space development or lunar platforms. One of the use cases is that there are modules which can extract oxygen out of the soil of moon. However, they found out those tools are existing, the manufacturing devices are existing, but because of microgravity, the impact of coagulation in the pipeline would be more than 70%, which means that there needs to be many more microgravity-based experimentation done before we launch it. So our expertise is this platform, but we also have the ability to do hardware, which is the levitation laboratory. Right now, we do the levitation with NASA-based labs, but in future, we would like to have our own labs where we are able to test the material in the levitation facility to be able to combine the predictions with the real material experimentation coming out of it.
And you can see a live demo on Bharat's website, gspace.com. There's an excellent video presentation that helps to really help you visualize what that looks like in reality.
Yeah, we've been struggling to, I mean, in 3 minutes, it's difficult to define science-based, it's a science fiction for many people, right? So we have made a video. I invite all of you to come on our website, or I can send the video, which really breaks down how we are trying to do multiple things and how the levitation facility together with the predictions that we are able to make with the platform is enabling this space manufacturing.
Fantastic. Thank you, Bharat. Thank you, Milena. One of the really exciting things is that, of course, here in Luxembourg, it is the home of the Luxembourg Space Station. And we have a huge amount of collaboration in partnership with the European space agencies that helps our founders to get things started. And of course, beautiful, ample budgets that go with that, which is certainly very helpful in addition to the VC funding. I'm now going to hand it over to Meracle Health. Isaac, if you can ask your additional questions in the chat, and Milena, I'm sure you have many, many more to add. Meracle Health has joined us here in Luxembourg via the Luxembourg Fit for Start program. Very excited to have Rachel Hong, the founder of Meracle Health, with us here today. Rachel, perhaps you can begin today just by sharing with everybody what the journey has been like for you, because you've been in the market now here in Luxembourg for going on 18 months. Over to you.
Sure. Thanks, Lisa. And you have been a big part of that journey. So we have to thank you. It's been a great journey being in Luxembourg through the Fit for Start program. We've gotten a lot of mentors who have guided us through the way, including the Ministry of Health. So I would like to share my presentation here. Okay. Hi, so I'm Rachel, founder of Meracle Health, where we are harnessing digital technology to optimize respiratory therapy. 600 million people have chronic respiratory disease, and 7 in 10 don't get better. And this is no surprise when only 10% of medication ever reaches their lungs. We introduce the Whiz. It is a device that guides patients visually in real time, ensuring that medication is delivered deep into their lungs. So it's similar to a speedometer in your cars, where you intuitively know when you're inhaling at the optimal rate and when you're not. And this allows patients to adjust accordingly. The daily data is collected and can be shared with doctors through a chart that allows them to view progress and adjust treatment. And for patients and their caregivers, it simplifies their medication routines with a gamification tool to keep them engaged. This is a solution that benefits all stakeholders by reducing the risk of exacerbation and the cost of healthcare, improving patient engagement and optimizing healthcare resources. We have key opinion leaders in Europe, Asia, and Australia, all confirming that this dual-pronged approach that we are taking is critical, and they also welcome the data as part of their decision-making toolkit. The Whiz has been used and tested in hospitals and home environment, showing improved conditions and reduced symptoms in just 3 months. We have clinical trial partnerships in National University of Hospitals, Singapore, Taipei Medical University, and planning a multi-center trial in Europe and led by our partners at Luxembourg Institute of Health. So how is the Whiz better? Well, it's the only solution that addresses technique and compliance at the same time. It is also brand and inhaler agnostic, so allowing the flexibility for doctors to prescribe any medication to be used with it. Smart inhalers are in the market to help monitor compliance, but tracking is a non sequitur if medication is not delivered correctly in the first place. Regular spaces have no feedback, with minimal innovation for the last 20 years. Our primary target segment are children and the elderly with chronic conditions such as asthma and COPD, as they are the most prone to errors and non-compliance. Globally, this is a 40 billion euro market. Our go-to-market strategy is to engage hospitals and medical device distributors who have local knowledge and connections, as well as insurers, pharmaceutical companies, and telehealth platforms to bundle the Whiz with inhaled medications, thus complementing their current solution offerings. We have a strong team with deep experience and expertise in the medtech sector, especially in the respiratory space. We are seeking to raise $500,000, having already secured non-dilutive grants from Luxembourg and Singapore government. So join us as we help 600 million patients breathe easy. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you, Rachel. And I'm going to hand the first question over to Leonie. Over to you, Leonie.
Yes, thank you, Rachel. I actually have quite a few questions, but I'll just start. If you could go back to your team and just elaborate on how you actually started and just the background on your team. And did you also mention when you founded? When you were founded? Okay.
Okay. So the technology that I've been working on was from the National University of Singapore, where our team actually helped doctors to develop medical devices to solve the clinical unmet needs that they face. So one of the projects that we undertook there was the Whiz. So Melvin and I actually directed the team, which is called Medical Engineering Research and Commercialization Initiative. So basically working alongside doctors to develop and commercialize devices. Vickers, our chairman, he come with experiences of setting up medtech companies. One in particularly is an OEM for respiratory devices. Yeah.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
I have a few more questions, but I'll let anyone else
Sure.
ask so I don't hog, and then you can come back to me, or I can ask them in the chat.
I think you're okay, Leonie. I don't have any other hands up at this moment.
Yeah, I'm really curious. Okay, great. I'm curious about the differentiators between some of the other. Yeah, if you go back to the competitor slide, there wasn't really any competitors you mentioned in the technique and agnostic. So would really love to know a little bit more about the technology that's used within the technique to separate that and why it hasn't been done before.
Well, it hasn't been done before because prior to this, digitalization is a lot more expensive. So currently, how nurses are training children in particular on how to take their medication correctly is this simple sentence: breathe in slowly and deeply. And working with doctors and nurses, we realized that this doesn't translate to a child who is like 4 years old. Which was why we developed the hardware first to sort of provide a guide. And I think with the common usage of our mobile phones these days and the prices of electronics coming down, it has now become more easy to implement this. But at the same time, data is valuable, and now doctors are more open to utilizing additional data that can help them. So with increasing hospitalization utilization, doctors are spending less and less time with their patients. So we've heard that it can go anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes. And however, with this data on their hands, they are able to assess better what the conditions of the patients are and how to best prescribe medication to treat them. Yeah.
All right, thank you guys. I'm going to have to wrap it up there. Thank you so much for your question,
Sure.
Leonie. Thank you,
Thank
Rachel.
Thank you, everyone.
Now we've just got a slight move in schedule. We are going to invite Dakko to the floor. Maria, I'm going to hand it over to you to take it away.
Yes. Hi, everyone. Good morning. Good evening. Can you hear me? Yes, I guess.
Perfect.
All right. Oh, sorry. Good morning, good evening. I'm Maria Messina, CEO and co-founder of Dakko, an early-stage fintech startup in health and financial well-being. At Dakko, we started with a simple assumption: poor financial well-being impacts on health and, in general, on people's life. Did you know that half of the world cannot access to essential health services? According to the World Bank, there are over 800 million people in low-middle-income countries that spend greater than 10% of their income in out-of-pocket payments, which means that these people don't have access to insurance to cover all their basic needs yearly. In countries where insurance is not that advanced, there are minimum wages and inequalities. The problem that we are addressing is the poor accessibility and engagement with the underserved. Sometimes barriers are created by a lack of infrastructure that prevents
Sorry for the person that has their phone screaming. If you don't mind to put yourself on mute. Thank you.
All right.
Sorry.
No worries. The problem that we are addressing is the poor accessibility and engagement. Sometimes barriers are created by a lack of infrastructure that prevents from connecting with the services that they need. Other times, barriers are created by high out-of-pocket payments, insufficient insurance and benefits, and lack of health financial literacy. Over the past 4 years, I spent a lot of time in Singapore, in Southeast Asia, and with my friends and colleagues from those countries, we've decided to create a super app, which we call Dakko Wellbeing, a one-stop platform that helps the underserved gain better access to health and financial wellness services and improve people's well-being with engagement and data-driven insights. But the real outcome of our solution will be to empower people in the lower middle income class to move themselves to the middle class. And this is a huge market opportunity, not only in Southeast Asia. We have created a B2B2C app that allows SMEs and corporates to partner up with us, digitalize their payroll services, and offer this super app to their employees. And this, of course, will help them in terms of their overall health, company retention, company culture, and performance, and offer huge life benefits to their employees and their families. The team, I'm Maria, CEO of Dakko, with over 10 years of experience in financial services, strategy, and marketing. Rana is the CTO of Dakko, with over 30 years of experience in banking, digital technologies, and innovation. Sivaram is the Director of Business Development of Dakko, with 25 years of experience in healthcare and wellness. We have piloted our MVP in Southeast Asia, in Cambodia, and we have onboarded our first 300 employees that are using Dakko today. Now we are looking for to raise capital, $500K to grow more the team, to operate into markets by the end of 2022 and take Dakko to the next level. So I'm hoping that we can show you what we have built soon, and show also our vision on how to improve people health and financial well-being, and reach the underserved better.
Thank you, Maria. And Maria, you are based in Europe. Where are you located today?
Yes, right now I'm based in Italy.
Perfect. And can you tell the team about your European aspirations, given that, of course, many of our investors can only invest into the European Union?
Yes, we are looking for partners in Europe, because we believe that our solution can have great potential, also according to our discussion with insurers and banks, even in Europe and Eastern Europe. So because I'm based right now in Italy, we are looking for to move our company in Luxembourg and build Dakko in Europe, and operate in markets in Europe and Eastern Europe.
Excellent. Thank you, Maria. Scarlett, you're the expert on this topic. I'm going to hand it over to you.
Thank you, Lisa. Maria, thank you for the pitch. I would love to know really 2 points. So the first point is, how do you plan to get customers, to essentially, how do you get users to download the app? And the second one is, how do you keep on engaging the customers so that you can turn the users into paying customers?
All right, thanks for the question. Our business model is based on a B2B2C model, meaning that we aim to onboard final users and employees by leveraging their employment and even banking relationship. So by providing access to a digital payslip, which is one of the features of our solution, and this is our engagement model, then we aim to bring employees on the platform. And of course, the digital payslip is an important source of information, because in a payslip you can find information about the income, the demographic, the deductions also, and with this information, the rich data that we collect on the platform, we aim to turn this data into actionable insights, because this will allow us to better understand the lifestyle needs of people, and then offer our solution with health and financial wellness services in a better engaged way and personalized way. So the real value of Dakko is that it is a data intelligence system where having all these data sources, different data sources, and we aim also to leverage open banking, we can better understand users and offer smart recommendations, surface smart product recommendation to our final users. So I hope I replied to your question. So the engagement model is a B2B2C model. So we aim to partner with banks and insurers and corporate clients to reach out a large pool of customers, of employees.
Thank you for that. I would love to know if you, who are your competitors in this space?
Well, according to our preliminary research, we found that there are many companies in standalone application, but our differentiation is the combination of a health and finance in one solution. So we are bringing the engagement model with digital corporate services, health services, and financial well-being services. And this combination, I think there are not so many companies in this space, and this is where we want to stand out from our competition.
Thank you so much, Scarlett and Maria. We're going to have to wrap you up there. Really appreciate your contributions today. And without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Andre, who joins us from Slovakia. Andre, your company is STEMI Global. Floor is yours.
Yes, hi. Hi, everyone. My name is Andre. I'll share the PowerPoint presentation so everyone can see. So good morning, good evening, good day. I have a bad news for all of you. Every third one of you, your family and friends will die of heart attack or stroke. The sad thing is that the incredible numbers of those diseases, from all of those, almost half of them get delayed treatment. And the delays happen in pre-hospital care, in the hesitation of the patients, in multiple transportation, multiple diagnoses, waiting for things to happen. We have managed with our platform to remove most of the unnecessary delays, and we reduced the secondary treatment by secondary transportation by 64%. We reduced time to treatment by 60 minutes, and that resulted by reduction of immediate chance of death by half. And there is a clinical study about it. And we don't do it just for the heart attack and strokes. So our platform has been extended to things like trauma, COVID, pediatrics, and gynecology. So completely covering all the hot potatoes of paramedics that don't know what to do with those in those situations. We calculated that only about 7% of eligible hospitals worldwide have similar solution. And so market looks still attractive. And the estimated valuation is around $4 billion. And let's not forget that the hospitals are like banks 8 years ago in dire need of digitalization and modernization. There is a competition on the market, but no major player with large market share has emerged yet. And we are better than, as we are the only one having clinical study to prove our results. We have a fast rollout of our solution with online academy trainings. And we also provide analytics tools on the regional and hospital level to analyze the situations and flow of the treatment. We are raising 2 million euros that will let us finish our product development mainly in AI and advancements of diagnosis and give us chance for global scaling. I believe that we have the perfect team to cover the technical, financial, BDM, and medical areas, combining over 100 years of experience. Our advisory board includes expert marketing, business, other medical fields, and also for AI development, we have a professor from UC Berkeley. We have some recognitions and previous also Unicorn Cup and awards, but most important is that the family should stay together, not because of luck, but because the fast diagnosis and treatment is if the situation arises. And I'm sure the situation arises and we will be able to save that every third person. On a short note, we also developing feature that will allow shorten the hesitation time for the people suffering the heart attack and stroke, make the self-diagnosis and make the decision to call the ambulance as fast as possible. So thank you. How about on time?
Fantastic. Thank you, Andre. This is excellent. My father had 4 heart attacks before he sadly passed on, but I am deeply familiar with your topic and appreciate just how important having the right hospital at the right time with the right insurance really matters. I'm going to hand over to our illustrious judges for their questions. Any questions from the group? Scarlett, I'm sure you have some questions as it relates to the healthcare networks across Asia.
Sure. So thanks, Lisa. Andre, I would love to know how you plan to sell your service So how do you plan to market this? And what is your pitch to them? What exactly are you pitching to them as the objectives or cost savings or efficiencies that you can create from your products?
It's different market to market, because if you have a nationwide healthcare system, then you have to pitch to government, obviously, where the main thing is shortening the time to treatment, so having better results. And with the solution, we are saving roughly about €500,000 per hospitals annually because of having the faster treatment. But it also works on the smaller scale. For example, we have a running pilot in Oregon, in Klamath, where there is only one clinic, but it has a large fall-in area for heart attacks, the cath lab. So they get a proper management and warning system of all the ambulances coming in and actually discussing them way forward. Yes, bring the patient to us or don't come to us. They also manage the people that are at home waiting on call, because the app is also supports team activation. So people come to the hospital at the right time when the ambulance is arriving. So it really depends. It can go directly to the hospitals if it's like a US market, but everything's private, or it can go for a regional level or even nationwide government level.
Thank you.
Andre. Thanks, Scarlett. And this was a project that initially rolled out across the entire Slovakian country. And so it's a really great opportunity to make an impact in our Southeast Asian markets for certain. I'm going to hand over now to our next participant. Thank you both, Andre and Scarlett, for your contributions. All right, and the next participant here today is our team from StyleClueless, joining us from Israel. Welcome.
Hi, nice to meet you all. I'll share my screen. Hi, can you see my screen?
Perfect.
Great, so, okay, this is more positive, yeah? So I'll tell you about StyleClueless, but before that, I want to tell you something about fashion. Fashion is what we buy, and style is how we express our identity. And our identity is very important in the gaming industry and in the metaverse. So I've been in the fashion industry for the past 14 years, and with this amazing team, we'll build an engine that can take 2,000 items and within seconds generate aesthetic looks taken in regard colors and styles. And it's based on machine learning and AI. And this product is very crucial for the metaverse that I'm sure you've all heard of. The metaverse is basically mostly about the experience and the discovery, but the people creating the metaverse are really, it's all about the creator economy. And StyleClueless is going into the avatar and identity of, I don't know, I'm sure some of you go and play games, if we're talking about Fortnite or Roblox, or your children too, and finding your own unique identity in the metaverse is very, very important. And the UGC, which is the user-generated content, is huge. So just to give you a bit of an explanation, we're talking about TikTok or YouTube is really people creating the videos, right? And people creating blogs. But now in the metaverse, people build the worlds. And platforms that are helping with that are Roblox and Zepeto. But when I am a user or a gamer and I want to buy an asset and create my unique avatar, I need to go through millions of assets that were created by creators. And it's very confusing. As you can see here, you've got a sim avatar and you've got a Zepeto avatar. It takes a lot of times. And there's a lot of creators are losing their conversion options, and they're not being discovered. And this is a huge problem within the metaverse, because on one side, the gamers and the users have overwhelming amounts of items. The creators are not being discovered. And then the creator platform, which is the games themselves, are really losing, losing their users and losing the creator. And it causes, there's no conversion going on there. But with StyleClueless, if you have one item, it shows you how you can create a look taken in regard colors and style. So it's really, increasing the discovery and increasing conversion. And this helps the gamers, the creators, and the creators platforms to really monetize the discovery of the creators and monetize the discovery of the assets. So this is how it looks. If you have one item, you can see how you compare it. The most beautiful thing about this is really validating the customer's cravings. And this is huge data for the gaming and the brands themselves to understand which items are right, which combinations are now trending, and only then manufacture. So if somebody is dressing their avatar, they can then ask to manufacture that look and not just have, items running around in fast fashion. The market is huge, and we're really targeting the 500 million. That we've got competitors, but they're all in the e-commerce space. Nobody's now haven't yet gone into the metaverse. And this is a roadmap. So we've raised internally 5,000, and we built an engine that is working, taking 2,000 items and within seconds creating looks. Now we're looking to raise 2.5 million. And this is because we're really going into integration with the gaming. We already have two very big gaming platforms that want to work with us. And in addition, we're starting a strategic partnership with Browser, which is one of the leading 3D softwares. They're working with Nike, Walmart, and Ralph Lauren. And at the end, we're really looking to create a StyleClueless platform so everybody can, every gamer or a publisher can use our recommendations. That's it.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited about your platform, Renata. As someone who taught in the French fashion schools, I see so much potential for your product. I'm going to hand it over to our beautiful friend, Milena, who has recently launched a new DAO and is focused on the metaverse. So Milena, over to you. You're on mute.
Our DAO is focused on climate, but I am fascinated by NFTs and metaverses and interested in the space. So really cool what you're doing. Tell me, what is your monetization model? And if I understand, what are the bits that you're still missing? So you're building some relationships with brands so that you have this catalog of outfits. Mm-hmm. What you're putting together is the engine to offer options to the user. And then do you already have the access to users worked out with the relationships with the games? What are the missing links at the moment?
Okay, so what we have now, we are organizing the inventory, right? There are a lot of assets that we're talking about, millions of assets. And what StyleClueless does is really creating a story for every item. So this is what we know today as VMs and stylists do in the real life, but there's nobody doing it in the metaverse. So it's a whole mess now. And what we, after talking to a really huge publishers, gaming publisher, we understood that the biggest problem was for creators to be discovered. So what we did today, if I look at one top from, let's say, a popular creator, I don't know, Rihanna just put a top on Zepeto, okay? And I'm a new creator coming in. You will see Rihanna's top with my pair of pants. So this is really enabling new creators to be discovered, which is something that we don't have today, in other creators platforms. But in the metaverse, this is very crucial because the whole metaverse is created, is all about the creators. They're building this world, right? So what you will see the combinations, what goes with that. And then the combinations are promoting new styles, new colors, but most importantly, new creators. So we have all that. So that we used to do it. Initially it started in 2018. This is for e-commerce, but then we realized, like the digital fashion, there's a need for us there more than in e-commerce. And that's why we're working now with Browser. They have a huge amount of digital assets because they're working with all the brands, but we're also looking to go into helping the digital creators, the virtual creators.
Milena, in your pitch around climate change, the production of fast fashion, as you know, uses toxic chemicals, dangerous dyes, synthetic fabrics that are really renowned for seeping into our water supplies, especially in emerging markets. where communities at large are affected, and water scarcity is one of the biggest challenges for our planet. But most importantly, the fashion industry produces 10% of all humanity's carbon emissions. And that's why, as a responsible investor, I get excited about Renat, because she completely transforms the concept of fast fashion in the digital metaverse. All right, I'm going to have to hand it over. We're just short on time. And the next player off the ranks is Kate. And I know, Kate, it's getting really late in the morning for you. Welcome here today at Unicorn Pitch Luxembourg FreightExchange. Kate, over to you. Beautiful. Already ready. All good to go?
Hello, I'm good. I'm good. Nice to see you all. I'm Kate, CEO of FreightExchange, and these two lovely ladies on the screen are two of our customers. We solve the problem of unparalleled disruptions in supply chain. You probably haven't heard about it, but there's been some issues of late with COVID. And part of the reason for that problem is that the supply chains are incredibly complex and they are mostly undigitized, believe it or not. So we give our customers control and visibility over their supply chains. And that helps them to reduce their costs and their operations. Not only that, we significantly reduce wastage in the industry. Speaking of emissions, 15% of all global emissions are from freight transportation. So it is a significant problem, inefficiencies. But we know that in the future, like money and like all other commodities, goods and shipping will all happen algorithmically on trading platforms like ours. And we are building a platform that is connecting people, devices, robots, Internet of Things to make sure that goods move through supply chains as efficiently as possible. To date, we've saved over 10,000 businesses, are very capital lean in terms of capital efficiency. And we, in the past year, have grown significantly as a result of our unique value proposition in the market. So part of the unique value proposition is the type of goods that we ship or that we specialize in. So you could say that we work for awkward or ugly freight, fridges, couches, building equipment, frozen goods are all things that are incredibly complex and high cost to ship. They are also incredibly energy intensive. Freight transportation is 15% of global emissions, but just the warehousing and the cold chain is another 5% on top of that. So again, driving efficiencies through the awkward freight niche. It is a huge market. We have been operating in Australia and have achieved product market fit in the overland logistics space, and overland being roads, rail, so essentially domestic transportation. We are currently now looking to move into both Europe and North America and to tackle the global logistics TAM, and which is a $24 billion market. And then with a vision of becoming a trading platform over time. And we make money as a software platform, so we charge 15 cents per subscription. And we also charge additional fees for our algorithms, so our trading algorithms, whether those are consolidation, optimization, planning, and our advanced analytical modules. In addition to that, as we bring more transportation methodologies and traders onto the platform, they are also able to trade, and we also clip the ticket and charge a commission on that. So our platform, what is the actual product? It is a low-code API product, and it connects each of the players in the markets. So whether that's a manufacturer, a warehouse, a shipping line, a transport company, and so on. Our unique value proposition and the way we compete and the way we've been growing rapidly, especially throughout the last 12 months, is that our our no-code intelligent platforms allows us to bring customers on board in the medium, so less than 1 billion in terms of turnover. They don't need to invest in a SAP or a NetSuite or an Oracle. They don't need project teams. They essentially, we can set them up in days, not weeks or months, and in some instances, years. Our go-to-market, particularly in global markets and Europe in the overland space, there's three key pillars. So one is industry partners, implementation partners. So that's the actual businesses who use software to manage their supply chains. And then, of course, we've got a land and expand for enterprise growth. We're very unique in the market, not just in our current market in Australia, but also in the US and other locations, in that our go-to-market and also our unique IP, which allows us to bring any carrier, any IT platform into our ecosystem in days, not weeks or months, allows us to really scale. And that is how we truly grow and drive efficiencies through the industry. And we're experts at it. So my background is in transformation and advanced analytics and data science. Our head of engineering is one of the world's leading algorithmic trading platform experts, and our CPO is also a trading platform expert and combined we have significant deep expertise in creating and transforming industry. We are currently raising a $1.5 million to enter into 2 new markets, 2 new geographies. So one in North America and into Europe, and to prove our thesis that we can onboard global customers incredibly rapidly. So we're very much excited to meet you all and discuss how we can get a beta going.
Great, thanks so much. And I'm going to hand over to our illustrious judges. Questions from the floor. I know supply chain has been one of the biggest challenges in this market over the last COVID period. No questions from the floor. I think we're good to move forward. Kate, thanks for the excellent explanation. No questions is a very positive sign. All right, I'm going to hand over to our next presenter, and Vishram joins us from MicroSec in Singapore, landing into the European market. Vishram, over to you.
Great. Let me get my slides sorted out. Thanks, Lisa, for this opportunity to present. And hello, guys and girls all over the world. I'm Dr. Vishram, founder and CEO of MicroSec. We are a deep tech cybersecurity company based out of Singapore, and we focus on edge. So let's look at the problem. Over the past few years, we have seen a lot of IoT devices getting deployed owing to smart applications for smart city buildings, automotives, healthcare, and so on, right? But what we're also seeing is that more than 73% of these deployments are already under attack. And these attacks are exponentially increasing. Now, the reason, that actually also do the attack is because most of the, around 80% of the devices are already vulnerable there. Now, we will discuss about why this vulnerability exists, but let's look at the market side, right? Now, this actually brings us a very good market opportunity, right? Because by 2023, we expect 51 billion of these devices. But it's also getting accelerated by the COVID scenario because people would like to do remote actuation, monitoring, and so on, right? That basically brings another whole new market opportunity in terms of defensibility for these kind of devices. Now, let's look into the original problem, right? Why we are not able to secure these devices. So the classical security that exists for IT system, even the call that we're having right now, is not applicable for IT devices because they are really constrained in terms of memory, computation, resources, bandwidth, and so on. On top of that, there are more than 35 communication standards. Unlike you had just Wi-Fi Ethernet, we have the Bluetooth, Zigbee, 6LoWPAN thread, and there's endless communication technologies. And because of that, right, it becomes very complicated for a traditional classical security to work on these kind of devices there. This is where we come in. We built the world's first enterprise-grade security platform that targets IoT and industrial IoT devices that basically provides protection from 99.99% of the attack. This is tested by NIST. Now, there's 3 core USPs around it. The first core USP is that it's ultra lightweight, meaning that it can work over a very small device, including your Bluetooth sensors or Bluetooth earphone as well. Imagine having VPN or Bluetooth headphones. We can enable that. Second thing is that it's universal, meaning that it can work over all kind of protocols. So whether you're looking into Bluetooth, Zigbee, SysLoWPAN, NB-IoT, Wi-Fi, whatever you throw at it is going to work on top of it, right? The third thing is that it's based on machine learning. What it does is that it looks into the zero-day attack to figure out what kind of behavior the devices are showing and accordingly adjust its performance, meaning that you're able to provide protection from various forms of attacks. Now, when we look into the security market itself, especially in the IoT, right, it's getting crowded. So there's a lot of players that are coming in, right? All the way from classical players like Cisco, as well as the giants like Fire and Darktrace, right? But we still actually maintain our quota in terms of saying that, yes, we still have this end-to-end security, which is basically providing the 360 protection. Now, we're the only company right now in the entire world that can actually secure the devices at the heart of it. So that's why we proudly call ourselves security by design. In terms of the team itself, right, the team is basically, we started this company in like 2017. We're headquartered in Singapore. There are 40 plus team members comprising of 12 scientists. Now, I myself, I'm also a scientist, did my PhD in wireless communication and cybersecurity. Now, after that, right, we started this company with the vision of bringing enterprise security into the IoT domain, right? Now, this entire team is, comes from reputed universities as well. They come from cybersecurity backgrounds, cybersecurity labs, as well as looking into the threat and vulnerability management, right? And of course, around like 51% or 52% of the team is located here in Singapore. Looking at the traction, right, we have secured over 20,000 devices across different sectors, looking at smart city infrastructure, smart buildings, power systems, autonomous vehicle, and now we're also entering the healthcare sector. We also did, completed our Series A last year, last year, like December 2020. We have generated over $1 million in revenue without doing any active sales. This is all inbound sales. In terms of solution itself, right, it's patented and has entered multiple countries. We have other 4 provisional patents that we're filing right now. The solution complies with different standards into the NIST, IC, ISO. In terms of the business model that we follow, it is basically based on annual subscription per devices. It also has perpetual component that we sell to OEMs as well as solution providers. In terms of GTM, we typically follow 4 different channels. The lowest hanging fruit is the SI. But at the end, right, as the technology matures, we would like to target chip vendors. In terms of the plans for 2020, right, this is the first time we actually hired the first go-to-market or business developer guy I would say 6 months ago, right? Within the 6 months, right, we built a pipeline of $9 million for this year alone. And with that, right, we're trying to actually do a fundraise so that we can easily expand into different geographies, including Europe as well as US. Now, we will start planning our fundraise from April 2022. We haven't really actually get in the details yet, but we definitely would like to actually have a discussion with you guys. So if you find this interesting, please drop us an email.
Fantastic. Thank you, Vishram. And I'm going to hand it over to the floor where Milena has a question.
Great.
Vishram, congratulations on speaking so fast. I don't know how you do it. I felt like you are 1.5 speed on my audio. And the part I didn't get is when you said we're the only company in the world that does ... Can you fill that blank for me again, please?
So, so when we talk about the constrained devices, right? So there are a lot of companies in the security market like Mokana, Nanolog, FireEye, Darktrace, and so on, right? Sorry, let me slow down my speed as well. Sorry. So when we talk about the constrained devices that are running on battery power, right? Running on Bluetooth kind of protocols, Zigbee kind of protocol, right? So there's no solution that exists for those kind of devices. So we're able to target those devices. We're able to provide security by design for those devices as well. Currently, there's no such solution in the market that can target those devices. So that is our core IP that we're able to enable security by design from within the device that is able to target different protocols, targeting the low power and low constraint devices there. So currently, we are the only one that has achieved it. In terms of the competition, we have seen that there are other companies that are trying to achieve it for the past 4 or 5 years. We have been monitoring them. So far, they haven't been able to achieve it. So, that's our USP around it.
And if we have another 30 seconds, can you walk us through an example of an existing client and what you've done with them?
Okay, let's base my traction. Okay, so let's start with the smart home and building, right? So in this case, there are 2 solutions where we deployed. The first solution was looking at security by design for the meters and all the devices that are deployed as part of the smart building. We provide security for like 3,000 gateways there. So what we do is that we work with OEMs in this case to make sure that the devices are secured by design, meaning that the authentication, encryption, as well as looking at the entire privacy concerns of those devices are actually handled. On the monitoring side, we provided a solution to monitor the network and figure out if there's an attack happening. If this is some kind of intruder who's trying to actually, like say, jam the network, trying to do a DDoS on the network, or if there's any malware that is spreading through the network. If we detect that, we are able to isolate the device from the network to make sure that that device does not propagate the malware into further devices or go inside or deeper inside the network there. So that's a typical deployment model.
Okay, I'm going to have to wrap it up there. Thank you for talking so fast, Vishram, on this occasion. We're just running a little behind, but thank you, Milena, for your excellent questions. And Luxembourg is the home of security for Europe, so no better market to join, Vishram. Looking forward to welcoming you at the House of Deep Tech. Thank you, Milena. I'm going to hand over to the final presentation of today. Mark Edwards joins us from New York City. I know, Mark, it is an ungodly hour there for you, but thank you for making the time. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Lisa. Just 1 second.
So for those of you who may not be aware, I started out my career as an Alzheimer and dementia nurse in Australia. Obviously, life led me on a very different journey after the military, but I have the great privilege to know ViewMind, who is one of our hottest startups, landed into Luxembourg, because they in fact pitched against me in my very first pitch competition in Luxembourg and won. They've got the great privilege of having landed into our Lux Fit for Start and being one of the early graduates of that program, and are now working here into Luxembourg in partnership with the Ministry of Economy, with Lux Innovation and the Luxembourg Institute of Health. So with that, I can see your screen beautifully, Mark. I'm going to hand it over to you.
My name is Mark Edwards, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of ViewMind. ViewMind develops digital biomarkers for diagnosing brain health. Brain health diagnosis today is very reactive for two reasons. Firstly, the brain can overcome issues by itself for maybe up to several decades before any impairments are noticed. The second reason relates to the diagnostic tests that are available today. Firstly, you have pen and paper testing, which is only sensitive when there are already cognitive impairments or around that time. And then the second reason is that you have a class of testing such as MRI, PET, and lumbar punctures, which are invasive and costly and therefore, again, only used when there are already impairments. Changes in cognition result in reproducible changes in eye pattern movements. The eye is the window to the brain. It has a very pure access to the brain. It's part of the brain. And ViewMind is the first company to take advantage of this signal and develop a robust diagnostic solution based on eye movements. We use a virtual reality headset. The patient puts on the headset. Their eyes are exposed to ocular stimulus exercises. These exercises last 2 to 4 minutes, and a battery of exercises could take 15 minutes. And over that time, we gather a lot of data, and that's analyzed by a trained artificial intelligence system that can correlate the patient's data with particular pathologies. The advantages of ViewMind is that it has a very high sensitivity and specificity. It works independent of age, culture, and education. It's non-invasive, affordable, and it correlates with lumbar puncture, PET, fMRI, and EEG. Because of the high sensitivity, it can be used in the very early stages of diagnosis, really redefining what early means. And it is a digital platform. We are focusing initially on multiple sclerosis, not to diagnose the disease per se, but for disease management. We've also done work in the area of Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and long COVID. And the technology is extensively clinically validated independently and also with tier 1 pharmaceutical companies. We have regulatory approval in Latin America and Europe, and FDA's in progress. There is an extensive patent portfolio covering a variety of different claims based on research over 18 years. And we're starting to gather industry recognition from analysts, various different hospitals. We are doing a plenary at AAIC 2022, and we have a variety of publications, both published and that will be coming out over the course of this year. We have also partnerships globally with Hewlett-Packard and Momentum Micro. ViewMind intends to change the standard of care for brain health diagnosis.
Fantastic. And Mark, the floor is yours. I'm going to hand it over to our investors for questions. Thank you so much for your excellent presentation. Question from the floor. I see a question there from Peter.
Yes. Hey, Mark.
Hi, Peter.
Can you talk more about your business model?
Yeah, the business model is a per assessment model. So every time there's an assessment, we charge a fee. Obviously, a hospital doesn't want to receive an invoice every time they do an assessment. So we sell the assessments in a volume license pack. So maybe we sell, 500 assessments up front. And when we see that that is quite a way through, then we sell them the next pack.
And is that per the type of diagnosis, like per disease, or?
Yeah, it will be based on the type of diagnosis. Initially, we're focusing on MS. MS is the drugs are very expensive. They cost on average $57,000 a year. So we think we can command a high value in that area, and we'll probably create a custom code.
Excellent. Thank you, Mark. One more question, Peter.
Yeah, no, I was just wondering an exit strategy. So can you talk or elaborate more on your strategy for next while? Are you looking for acquisition, IPO? You looking for spinning out different technologies, or what is the strategy?
Well, I mean, it's early days. The strategy at this point is to really build a sustainable, healthy company. I mean, this is a massive market. It's a hugely underserved market, I think, as I presented. And so I think the initial focus is really building a sizable customer base and partner ecosystem. I think ultimately the company could IPO. It will have the revenue to do that, but it would also be an attractive acquisition target.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. And I might hand over one last question to Leonie.
Hi, thank you, Mark. Yes, my question is, are you wanting to remain specifically within data? What does the product roadmap look like over the next 5 years?
Leonie, I didn't catch your first question. Could you
what does the product roadmap look like for the next 5 years?
Yeah, so the roadmap is that we have already done a lot of clinical validation in a variety of areas. So we've Alzheimer's is an area where we've done a lot of work. Long COVID is another area. Parkinson's, depression, and so on. But obviously you have to be focused in terms of go-to-market. We're focusing on multiple sclerosis. The reason being is that there are many treatments. And so we can provide a clinical diagnosis that addresses unmet needs. There are different treatments. We can improve patient outcomes. Over time, the exact same technology, the same exercises that we've devised can be used for these other areas as well. So we will start to move into those other areas. There are quite a number of Alzheimer drugs that are in the queue right now in phase 3 clinical trials. We expect in a couple of years there will be 3 to 4 different drugs available. And at that time, we're going to be extremely well poised to be able to capitalize on that huge opportunity that is even bigger than the MS market.
Okay, thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you, Mark. And we're looking forward to seeing the launch of your MS product this quarter. Thank you so much for taking the time. Ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up the pitches for today. We're now going to go into deliberation for our judges. So judges, please take the time to wrap up your judging. And ladies and gentlemen, the winner of today's competition actually goes into the regional final in UK and Europe to be held on the April 7, 2022 in London. And that finalist will then go into the Unicorn Cup Grand Final event to be held in May. So we've got a host of activities still to take place over the next coming months, and really look forward to seeing you make your mark. Now, I'm going to give a drum roll. Kate is now gathering the judging on her side. Excellent. Kate, do we have a final winner? Just one moment. Unicorn Battle Europe. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, April 7, 2022, you'll get to meet even more of Europe's esteemed investors on that timeline. What we also have available, as you know, this March is the finalization of the European Innovation Council's applications for a 2.5 million euro non-dilutive grant and a 15 million euro blended finance package that can make up anything up to 1/3 of your round. So ladies and gentlemen, here today, if you're looking to expand across the European Union and tap into the EIC, now is your time, and the date of final applications are coming up very soon. So I can see Kate madly typing in the chat. Tell me, Kate, who is the winner here today? Here we go. I bet that judging was hard for our judges. Okay, and there can only be one winner, but the winner today, ladies and gentlemen, is Augmentus from Singapore. Congratulations, Daryl. Well done. Augmentus, ladies and gentlemen, the robotics company that is taking its mark across the European Union. Daryl, I'm going to hand over to you. Do you have some comments?
Yeah, I mean, I think I was very inspired by everyone that shared today. Some amazing startups here, and thank you so much for choosing me. I think it's a great honor. Looking forward to kind of representing everyone in the next round of the competitions as well, and look forward to connecting with everyone as well. I'll send over my LinkedIn later on as well. Looking forward to connect with everyone online. Thank you so much, everyone.
Fantastic. And ladies and gentlemen, our runners-up today was G-Space from NASA in the US. Congratulations, Bharat and Dr. Iona, who can't be with us here today. Every congratulations. We look forward to you making your mark in the Luxembourg space ecosystem and the broader European ecosystem. And third place went to our cybersecurity challengers, MicroSec. Congratulations, Vishram. You not only win third place today, but you also win the fastest speaking founder, a prize awarded to you via Milena from Era Ventures. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for taking your time today. It's not about winning this competition, as you know. This is a platform. It's a platform for relationships. It's a platform for innovation and open innovation among each other. But most importantly, it is a platform for the futures. This has streamed live to you here today on Facebook. It is going to be launched live on LinkedIn, and we'll be sharing it with our global VC networks internationally. I hope you all have the benefit of that. For those of you in the community who have joined us here today for the first time at the House of X, House of Deep Tech, please stay in touch with our founders. We have many of the founders here today who have already landed or who are in the process of landing into Luxembourg. And we have a brand new cohort that is going to kick off in the Luxembourg calling program on March 21. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful day ahead. And thank you for joining us here today at the Unicorn Cup Pitch Luxembourg. Enjoy your day.
Thank you.
Thank you.